Today's video is about the Titanic, and not about the hoax at large, whether or not it's an insurance thing or just a crazy psyop, something to do with a leftover ship. I personally, to give you the gist of what I believe, I think the ship was probably mostly empty, maybe a ship that needed to be decommissioned. Hey, let's do this crazy psyop. They get their group of friends to stand up on the ship and wave goodbye as it goes. So it looks like there's all sorts of people on the ship, but just enough to line the top of it. They go out, they get off the ship they probably had enough lifeboats, even though they go on and on about, oh, we don't need lifeboats. They probably had plenty of lifeboats for everybody. They get off the ship and sink it spectacularly. And then they're all coming up with their cool stories that they're going to tell people when they go back. And there's others that are writing fake characters to allegedly die. Anyways, that's my personal theory, and I've done a video before on when I was researching interior shots of what the inside of the Titanic looked like. To me personally, it looked like dollhouses, like somebody made a fancy looking miniature and took a picture of that. Hey, it'd be a lot cheaper than designing a whole ship to look fancy. I'm going to link that in the description and in the comments. But for this video, I want to focus on the shoes, because shoes are a symbol. And there's that famous story. I just looked it up, and apparently it's misattributed to Hemingway. The baby shoes for sale, never worn. How that's like the most tragic short story, or how to make a story in as few words as you can. Anyways, it's even more interesting now that I find out that Hemingway didn't write it, and it's because it's even older than Hemingway. So this idea about shoes representing somebody who's dead is just an interesting concept. And there's other instances too. Like, it's a meme in the media. I have a friend in Canada who, he told me that there was I was talking to him about this stuff recently, and he was like, oh yeah, there's this psyop that just happened and there were shoes involved. I didn't ask him for more details, but shoes seem to be a symbol for somebody who's dead, but you like don't have the body anymore. There's the aspect of when the body leaves the shoes, that person's dead, as a meme. And clearly there's people out there that kind of question the common narrative on the Titanic. So the common narrative is there are no skeletons down there. There are no human remains. And in my opinion, that could be like a karmic release. A lot of times they like to tell you the truth, but they put a twist on it. They'll say it's because of science. Science says that there's not going to be any bones down there. But I think that they're kind of hinting at the truth that nobody died. A huge aspect of most of their psyops is that nobody directly dies. If somebody dies, it's like an after effect or an accident, and their psyops usually are just a spectacle, and nobody is dying in them. Anybody who was part of the club high enough BAFO to be directly related to the Titanic event, they were getting off that ship to watch it be sunk and then go back and give their tale. Anyways, there is a scientific aspect of this, I suppose, and maybe it is true that most of the time bones do become nothing in salt water, and the shoes survived. I liked this expert down here. Owl Witty is an expert, and the angle of the shoe on the seafloor make it obvious that there used to be a body. He knows, because of the angle, that there had to be a body. This owl character, he knows that because of the angle of that shoe right there had to be a body in there. Couldn't have possibly just been a shoe with no body attached to it. Yeah, I disagree. I think they could have just put a bunch of shoes, because that's a symbol. For every pair of shoes is an alleged dead body. There's other things. There's other events that have a similar flavor of, look at all the shoes and all the people died. So I don't know. This video is not to get into the science of it. I suppose you could try to do a bunch of experiments, get the bodies that are donated to science and drop them down to the same depths as the Titanic in the same location under various conditions. Some just not protected at all, some in some sort of chamber. just because in my mind that it does seem unbelievable to me that there would be zero remains of bones. But there could be a grain of truth to usually the bones do disappear. But the Titanic was kind of an unusual situation. And I believe that there probably would be some sort of remains down there. And it does seem unbelievable to me that there's just no evidence of human remains. They have all sorts of spectacular stories about this stuff, but there is possibilities for bodies to be preserved underwater. They can saponify, turn into soap, basically. But you'll have experts out there that say, nope, bones dissolve in salt water in less than 1,000 days. Do they really? Could I take a bone and make water with as much salt in it as the ocean and stick the bone in that water, and would the bone really disappear in 1,000 days? Like, I guess if it was big enough, you would have to make sure it's big enough, because they would say, I don't know. But this doesn't sound right to me. What this sounds like is when in school they told us that plastic takes 500 trillion years to decompose, or whatever. Styrofoam takes forever to decompose. And that could be true under certain circumstances, I don't know. But when you leave plastic out in the sunlight, some plastics disintegrate very quickly in the sunlight. And so I just can't believe that 1,000 days, all bones are just going to disappear. That doesn't sound right to me at all. Like, this guy's just throwing the number out there. But I'm going to admit to you, I haven't done an experiment. I haven't done that. You can leave a comment what saline, what a bunch of salt does to a bone. Really cold, stuck inside their room. The people talking about bodies floating up. I don't know. I don't know. There's animals. Okay. But here you go. This is what made me start thinking about this, and I was like, man, what's up with the shoes? Shoes discovered in the Titanic wreckage are typically found in pairs because they were worn by victims when they died. Yeah, I mean, is that the way that it would be, though? If the shoes were still on the feet and they decomposed, would they be found in pairs? That just almost sounds convenient, like somebody just puts the pairs of shoes down. If there really were, like, bodies inside of the shoes, because I don't even know if this picture on the right, that does look like a pair of shoes. Like somebody walked in their house, took off their shoes, and set them down. What it does not look like is the aftermath of a human body decomposing in said shoes and being torn apart by animals or whatever. Do you see what I'm getting at? If there was a body in there that was being eaten by fish and decomposed, would it really still look like somebody that just walked in their house, took off their pair of shoes, and set them down nicely? That's something to ponder. What's the origin of the shoes fell off, he's dead? People are claiming it comes from EMT workers. This is a symbol that's been around for a long time. That's, to go back to the Ernest Hemingway thing, it's before him that there was the tragic tale of the baby shoes never worn thing. Empty shoes somehow represents a death. And you'll have to let me know in the comments if you know where that comes from. So yeah, this I'm just showing. I'm going to get to a video. Did I tell you already? There's a video. I have a funny video of a Titanic alleged survivor. So stick around till the end if you've made it this far. There's a video. I'm going to get to it really quick. I just wanted to show that bones can survive under some conditions. So that makes me feel like if the Titanic story was real, there would be somewhere, like, if the shoes are so good at preserving, why aren't there like toe bones or something? They're just so adamant about there are no skeletons down there. To me, that's like an admission. Like, they know for certain that there aren't because they know nobody died. Human skeleton found in shipwreck. You can pause these slides if you want to and read. I didn't do much reading of the slides today. I just want to get to this video. Thank you, Fake Nukes on BitChute. Let me know what you think about this video. It seems very British humor to me, this video. So let me know what you think. So here's the video.
There was a very slight bump, just a little jar, nothing at all. I went in my room. There was a second light jar, nothing of consequence. But you knew something had happened, and one man said, "Look at that. That's an iceberg, and it's a whopper." Because you know, there's 1/8 above the water and 7/8 below. And this blooming thing's all the way over the top of the ship. Thought nothing of it. We picked up the bits of ice, and most of us played snowballs.
Well, there you go. Let me know what you think of that. Hope you enjoyed. God bless everyone.